The legend of the phoenix all ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning. Look. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise the bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night till the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun.
Keeping me in the moment. I that you hadn't known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches that to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna say so? Didn't have to moan it. Keeping me in the moment. I that you hadn't known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches that to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna say so? Let me check my chest, my breath right quick. He ain't never seen it in a dress like this. He ain't never even been impressed like this. Probably why I got him quiet on the set like zip. Like it, love it, need it, bad. Take it, own it, steal it, fast. The boy stop playing, grab my ass. Like the knock you shaft. Shut it, save it, keep it, push it while you beating round the bush. And knowing you want all this woman. Never knock it till you try. All of them saying I have you with me. All of my saying you had committed. Really to anybody you had them pretty. All of the body I need out. Didn't have to moan it. Keeping me in the moment. I that you hadn't known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches that to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna say so?
It's DJ Bones in the building. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how. Maybe I'm going through a drought. You don't even have to get touch. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. I look around since city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. Hey, hey, hey. I'm running out of time, 'cause I can see the sun light up the sky. So I hit the road in overdrive, baby. Oh, the city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can see clearly when you're gone. And I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. I said, ooh, I'm drowning in the night. Oh, when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. I'm just coming back to let you know I can never say it on the phone. They'll never let you go this time. I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Hey, hey.
Black leather glove, no sequin. Buckles on the jacket, it's elite. Nike crossbody got a piece in it. Gotta dance, but it's really on some street. I'ma show you how to get it. It go right foot up, left foot slide, left foot up, right foot slide. Basically, I'm saying either way, we bout to slide. Hey, can't let this one slide. Hey, don't you wanna dance with me? No, I could dance like Michael Jackson. I could get you the passion. It's a thriller in a track. Where we from? Baby, don't you wanna dance?
Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the NCUSSA Career and Advisement Seminar. I do hope that everybody is doing great. And the theme for this seminar is paving the road for success. So at this time, we're going to be asking Mr. Sanjay Reed to do the welcome, and that will be followed by the prayer coming from Janelle Phillips.
Good morning to one and all gathered here today. It gives me immense pleasure to start this auspicious occasion by heartily welcoming everyone. Stars shine at night, and some stars shine in bright daylight. It's our pleasure to welcome one such star, Dr. Tracy Dawes Daniel, the Honorable Chief Guest of today's function. We welcome you, Miss. The essence of great leadership is influence and not authority. With this note, I would like to welcome Dr. Nicole White, the chair of our department, for being here. We celebrate your leadership and your influence on us. We welcome you. He who puts his soul and heart in uplifting others attain dignity. Yes, I welcome you, Dr. Wellington, for being here, and to all other lecturers present today. Last but not least, I sincerely welcome all my students, friends, colleagues, visitors for being here. There's a lot in store for you, and I hope it will be interesting and informative to you all. Once again, I welcome everyone to our first Career and Advisement Seminar. Welcome.
Good day, everyone.
Okay,
Let us
thank you
get
for
into
that
the attitude of
lovely
prayer as we
welcome,
seek to
Mr.
begin
Reed.
this
I'm
program.
pretty sure that everybody feels very welcomed. So, we're going to be transitioning now to the prayer that will be done by the VP of Spiritual Affairs for the NCUSSA Club, Janelle Phillips.
Good day, everyone. Let us get into the attitude of prayer as we seek to begin this program. Let us pray. Dear kind and compassionate Father
Janelle, your
God,
mic
truly
is
we are
off.
grateful for the opportunity that you have given us to plan this seminar that seeks to answer many of the questions on the minds of the students in this department about what should they do after NCU and the career choices that they should go into. I pray that you will be with each presenter. I pray that you will be with each participant. And I pray that you will allow them to provide the answers that are needed. I pray also for those who will be listening to this program. I pray that they will be able to be at ease after this program, knowing that there are opportunities out there and also providing them with the options of career choices, oh God. I pray that you will also be with the technology that we'll be using. Pray that you will prevent all technical difficulties so that we can have this program run smoothly. Thank you for all that you have done, what you will be doing, and what you will continue to do in our lives. Forgive us in Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
VP. So let us bow our heads for prayer. Our God and our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all that you have done for us. As we are commencing this seminar, we pray that you will lead the proceedings. We pray, O Lord, that everyone that has been tuning in will leave here with additional information that they need to move forward. Grant unto us your peace and be with us now. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So With this advisement seminar, we know that we'll be guided accordingly. We know that we will garner the necessary information to make wiser, better decisions as it relates to our academic life and the way forward. And our first presenter is the chair of the Department of the Biology, Chemistry, and Environmental Science Department, and that is Dr. Nicole White. And what better person to be our first presenter than the actual chair? So please continue tuning in and let us digest all Dr. White has to offer. So Dr. White, without further ado, you may begin.
Thank you, Jaysari. Good morning. Thank you, NCUSSA, for inviting me to your first career webinar. So I was given the task to talk about careers and then about language and content and finally about undergrad research, success in each. Excuse the noises where I'm situated, you're going to hear a lot of traffic. All right, so let's talk about careers. Yes, I could come here and tell you with a degree in science, you can work in industry as a teacher, go on to further studies if you want to do medicine. You can even work in bank if you decide to change careers because science gives you such, it lifts you up. It allows you to think critically. You're good at math. So you can basically go almost anywhere with a science degree. But I want to focus today on why you should choose a career. Simple. A lot of persons decide to choose careers because of finances or position, right? You want to be a medical doctor because that is what we've been told. A medical doctor is this and that. But if you're not happy with your decision, then in the long run, it would make no sense. Just to work for money or for work for power or prestige is not why you should work. Yes, we all need a paycheck. Check. Yes, we don't like our jobs sometimes. Check. But at the heart of it, you should enjoy your job. Right? So even though let's look at what we do or what I do as a lecturer and a chair. It is a stressful to say the very least. We're busy. We have to be on our phones communicating with our students or faculty members or general colleagues and outside clients. But at the heart of it, I do enjoy what I do. And that is what keeps me working. So when you're going to decide on a career, the best thing to do is first to pray and to talk to God honestly and say, I want to be an obstetrician. Then you start to think, the Lord starts to put things in your head as to, do you really want to do this? Be honest with the Lord, be honest with yourself. And at the end, trust me, what you decide, you might come out with 1, 2, 3 options, but at the end, you know this is where you want to go. The bachelor's might not be your end point. Even if it's a bachelor's in biochemistry, you might actually want to do something in. This is just a stepping stone, and that is fine. You have a goal in mind, but you should have a goal. So don't let people push you into things because, right? Do something because you feel it would be beneficial for your personal growth and would be beneficial for those around you because you do want to benefit society, right? You don't want to be selfish. So that's the first thing I think. You should know what you want to do. Then you should plan how you're going to go there. What route are you going to take? And that's something personal for you. That is something that you should discuss with your family or academic advisor since you're already in university. And then, just do it. It might take longer, and that is okay because at the end, it is about you and that your happiness, your internal peace, to me, is what is really important. So don't worry about flashy jobs. And what is important is that you have that inner peace, that when you go to work, when you get up in the morning, every day, you are crying about going to 8 o'clock classes, when you have to get up to go to work every day, every day you're going to work. And I'm sorry, I'm seeing that you're not even seeing my face because of my background, but that's the best I have, sorry. Every day you're going to work. You're getting 2 weeks off a year. So think about that. You can't just decide you're not going to work today. You have to get up. Rain, you have to get up. So it's important for that inner peace. All right. Next thing I want to talk about, because sadly I have 2 other meetings today at 10 o'clock. So I'm not going to be here for the entire webinar. The second thing I want to talk about today is language and content. And I know that my final years who are going to be interviewed, yes, it's an interview, it's an exit interview. On a Tuesday coming, you are a little nervous about it and you're not sure how to go about being fully prepared for it. Fully prepared, what is fully prepared? You've done the best you can. I'm sure you've done the best you can. You better have done the best you can. Done the best you can means that you have revised. We have given you a list of topics and you revise those topics. What we ask you is not limited to those though, because it's not just about can you regurgitate a definition. It is about can you apply what you have learned. So we're going to give you scenarios where you have to pull maybe from multiple courses that you have done, and you're going to have to come up with a workable solution to what we've asked you. So when you come to language and content, and it is virtual this year, so but we still need to see your pretty faces, so you need to get yourselves camera ready and turn on your cameras. You need to first be calm. Be calm. Your lecturers who you've seen for 4 years, your lecturers are not there to fail you. We're not there to scare you. We are there to pull from you what we need in order for you to pass language and content successfully. Okay? So just be calm. And I just looked at my phone, I thought it was ringing, sorry. The second thing is you don't have to answer. I asked you a question, you don't have to answer like that. Take a second and then think of the answer and then put forward your answer. All right? Don't listen to Shelly, and I'm just saying Shelly because I don't think there's a Shelly in the department in final year. Don't listen to Shelly as Shelly comes out of her language and content experience, because her experience is not your experience. We've seen persons get all, flustered before they go into language and content because of persons coming out. And so when they sit down, true story, when they sit down and you ask them the first question, they start to cry. And you've not asked them anything that they don't know. But because they have, they've taken in all this anxiety from other persons. And when it's their turn, they're not trusting themselves. They're just expecting it to go badly. And persons that we know should pass have had to reset it. Okay? So just trust yourself. You've studied, you've prepped. Now, if you don't know an answer and you cannot, how can I say this? Sometimes you can work through an answer. Yeah, you might not know it, but you can work through it. We'll give you the time to work through it. There are about 10 or 15 minutes for your interview. Hopefully we don't have to go longer than that, because I won't scare you in saying, sometimes we need to pull back and take another route to try to help you to answer the question. We don't want to have to do that. All right, so just trust yourself. You have prepared. You have prepared. You are ready for language and content. You are ready. If you didn't hear the question, simply ask to repeat. I suggest you have paper and pen nearby, because we might ask you things that you might have to draw or something to explain, or just to keep track of the question. So I suggest you have paper and a pen nearby you. You'll be fine. Trust me. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. All right. All right. Finally, we want to talk about undergrad research. What does it take to be successful at undergrad research? As you know, you are judged should I say judged? You are marked, you're graded, assessed. Yes, you are assessed of your presentation only. Meaning that you're not submitting something to us to mark. You are assessed of your presentation. Okay? So what that means is that you must prepare. You cannot in fourth year spring be thinking about your topic. That is third year spring. You need to have your topic ready by third year spring so you can know if it is a feasible topic. We don't tell you what topic to choose. That is not, no. We don't tell you what topic to choose. That is you. Whatever area interests you, you do it. Okay? You can come to us for a guidance. You can, let's say Dr. Wellington specializes in an area that you are interested in, and you go to him for guidance and he can guide you. That is fine, right? But you need to know what you need to do by, or what you want to do by the end of third year. Then you start your planning over the summer and you start it. Ideally, I would like it if students are finished with the lab work or whatever footwork that they need to do about 4 to 6 weeks before the presentation. Why? Because you need to put all the results together. And that takes time. You need to put a presentation together that is succinct, because you do have about 10 or 15 minutes to do your presentation, but informative, detailed, yet not overly, unnecessarily detailed. Okay? Now, during this 4 to 6 weeks prior to presentation date, and you're putting together your PowerPoint presentations and you're assigning different group members to whatever area they need to talk about, I personally would like it if you know what's on your slide. Meaning, you put up a slide and all you're doing is reading from the slide. I've been in presentations, final year presentations, where students have done this. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I either don't need you or I don't need the slide. So you're already being marked down because of how you are presenting. And that is simply because you probably just finished the lab work last week. So you didn't give yourself enough time to know what is on your slide so that you can add it to it. Because your slide is just there to keep me in the know of what you're talking about and you on track. Okay? So you put your pointers on. And diagrams are lovely, please, thank you. You put your diagrams on and you explain them. Do not spend too much time on the introduction, please, because I noticed that a lot of persons spend more than half of their presentation time on the introduction, and then we have to rush you or stop you before you finish the presentation, which is the discussion conclusion part. So don't spend too much time on your introduction, okay? All right. So after you finish that, then your lecturers are going to ask you questions based on what you have presented, which means that you need to plan for possible questions. So if you have friends, you present in that 4 to 6 week period and let them ask you questions so that you have an idea of what type of questions will be asked. More than likely, we might ask you, why did you choose this procedure or this project, or, stuff, whatever comes out. Because I know we have agri, environmental science, geography, biochem, biology. So there's no one example that we can give you here that would. But just ensure that you think of possible questions and answer smoothly. Now, I look to see if there is one member who is answering all the questions. I'm going to mark the others down. So don't just be in a group, be active in the group, okay? Don't let Desiree do all the work and you do nothing. Be active in the group because I expect everyone to answer a question. All right. So,
Dr. White, just to ask you a question, somebody is stating in the chat, is
I
there
can't do
a
my
wrong,
glasses.
is there a wrong and right answer in language and content? Is there a wrong and right answer?
Of course, there are wrong and right answers in language and content because we've asked you a question. Our questions are somewhat subjective, meaning, and but mostly objective questions, meaning that there is a right answer. How you approach it might be based on you, but there is a right answer to a question. All right. We in language and content, so I put on my glasses so I can read now. In language and content, we not only ask you the content, we want to see your body language as well. So remember, it's an interview. How you sit, your facial expression. Yes, you shouldn't be screwing up your face in language and content. All right. So to answer the question simply, yes, there are right and wrong answers in language and content. And please use standard English. Brush up on it if you're not so, great at English grammar. We need to, because we're marking you for your English grammar. Any other question? That was basically it. Any other questions?
No,
And then
Dr.
I'll
White, I
have to
think that
look
was the
and
only one.
that was it. All right. All right. Well, thank you, Nkusa, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. I hope you have a successful webinar. And thank you again for trying to help out the BCES family. I am now going to bid you all adieu as I head off to my other duties. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. White, for coming, and thank you for the encouragement and the directives. We appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much. So our next presenter is Dr. Max Wellington. He's also a lecturer in the Department of Biology, Chemistry, and Environmental Science. So we're going to ask Dr. Wellington to begin his presentation.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And let me first of all congratulate you all for getting to this stage of your educational career. My talk this morning will be on careers in biochemistry. Careers in biochemistry. And just to start off by saying that the career prospects for persons in the biological sciences is very good. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics in the US has projected like a 21% growth in the demand for persons in the biological sciences over the next decade. And certainly that would include persons with training in biochemistry. Now, there are a number of career paths that are available to persons who have pursued a degree in biochemistry. And I'm going to also include in my talk career prospects for molecular biology also, because those two areas are very closely aligned. And so, with the advent of DNA technology and all the work that is being done in that particular area, it opens up the doors for, a number of career prospects for persons with training in that area. Now, molecular biology kind of evolved out of biochemistry, so the two are closely aligned. Now, there are various levels that you can train as a biochemist. Recent graduates from the university, most of you would have a bachelor's degree in biochemistry. And in addition to that, you would have done some training in chemistry, as well as maybe some training in microbiology. I always advise my biochem students, if possible, to do a course in microbiology also, because that will broaden their scope for employment. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want to start working on a career from the bachelor's degree level, Some persons go further to do a master's or a doctorate. At the bachelor's level, there are many careers available, largely in quality control, quality assurance. Now, when we talk about quality control, we're talking about working in maybe a food industry, the chemical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, where they are producing a product for the market. Now, before that product can go out to the market, it usually has to go through some rigorous testing to ensure that what you are putting out there is what you're supposed to be putting out there. And so you normally have biochemists or chemists that would work in probably a laboratory setting, doing quality control, quality assurance work. Sometimes after a while, they may get promoted to quality assurance manager or technical director. So there's a career path in that. Some students, in addition to their degree in biochemistry, would pursue maybe some courses in management or supervisory management, which are available online or from various other institutions. There's always the opening for high school teachers, always a need there. Some persons start off teaching in the high school, and the salaries may not be as great, but certainly you get some development there. You learn to present stuff a lot better. You learn some personal skills, and persons sometimes launch from there. They go teach for maybe a year or two, maybe 3 years, get some experience while they are deciding what route they want to take. And I just wanted to quote a scripture um, from from Ecclesiastes 5, verse 19. It says, "Enjoy your work and accept your lot. This is indeed a gift from God." Enjoy your work. And I strongly believe that, God places certain things on our hearts. And even the careers that we sometimes have a propensity towards or affinity for, sometimes that is what is on our heart. And sometimes we follow what is on our heart. And, we'll enjoy what we do. There are times when persons want to do a particular thing in life, but they are attracted to the money in another area. And so that becomes the overriding factor in their decision. And they go into an area now, and years later on, you hear that they don't like the area and they want to change. So sometimes, you follow what's on your heart. So we talk about high school teaching, and normally the subjects there are probably biology, chemistry. In some cases, they actually ask you to teach physics. So even those physics courses that you do, it's important to try and remember some of the principles that were taught. Mathematics. Um, I think about medical sales. I remember having quite a number of interviews um, as for pharmaceutical sales, and the salaries there are usually very good. In some cases, they'll give you a car. Um, Usually, you may need some training in marketing or sales, and you would work for probably one of these pharmaceutical companies like a Pfizer or a Eli Lilly. Um, Invariably, they generally tend to prefer persons trained in pharmacy, but usually the amount of persons in pharmacy tends to be very limited. And so sometimes they'll take persons with biochemistry training for jobs such as that. Med reps, pharmaceutical reps, and so forth. Um, then we think about entrepreneurial ventures where you come up with an idea, and we have the competition here that a number of NCU students participate in, and you come up with an idea and you work on it and you develop it, and sometimes that becomes your life's work. and that's in entrepreneurship. We talk about lab technicians or lab analysts in medical labs, in crime labs. Criminology is becoming a very big area, and that's a big concern in Jamaica. And so you have the forensic lab, you have the lab that does DNA testing for things like paternity. And that's a very big area in Jamaica because a lot of persons want to find out who their parents are. And so some persons go on to do a master's, and there are many. You can diversify when you go to the master's level. You have food technology, where you have food processing and all of that. Companies like Grace Kennedy and Lasco and you know Ramson and so forth that produce a lot of foods for the man. And people have to eat. People have to eat. So there's always jobs there. Some persons launch out and develop their own food line. You see a lot of peppers on the market and condiments and so forth. So all of that is in the works. Um, you have some persons changing gear and going into engineering. But to do that, you'd have to have a good affinity for math and physics. If you don't like the math and you don't like the physics, don't try to tackle engineering because it's mainly math and physics. You have pharmacology. Some persons go on and do an MBA, and they go and they work in the bank, or they run a business. The world is your oyster. Then you talk about persons doing a master's in areas in biochemistry or biotechnology. Some persons do a master's in education, and they go on to teach at a college or university. Um, but usually you need a PhD. And then you have persons who segue into law. Yes, law. Some people go into law. Some persons go into medicine, dentistry, and veterinary medicine. And all of those areas usually will take biochemistry graduates directly. Um, if you plan ahead of time and you want to do medicine, then you may want to include like a A&P course in your program of study, or some of those courses that would help to assist you in doing well in med school, forensic pathology, courses like that. Then, of course, some persons go on to do the doctorate, and they will find jobs as professors, lecturers, administrators, policy directors in government agencies, editors for journals, researchers in food and drug. And there's a big area in the US now and in Europe that is burgeoning, that is growing at a rapid rate, and that is the area of bioinformatics, where persons are combining um, biological sciences with computer science. And this is a very big area that is growing at a tremendous pace because a lot of data is being generated now when persons analyze genomes, analyze proteomes, analyze transcriptomes, and so forth. A lot of data is generated, and you need persons who can develop algorithms and programs that are able to assess and get as much knowledge from all this data. What am I talking about? For example, if somebody does some testing on, they have breast cancer, or tests are done on various persons with breast cancer, and we have all the data on the type of genes that are turned on in the various cancers that affect the breast, the type of genes that are turned off, the type of proteins that are expressed in those conditions, the type of proteins that are turned off. Plugging all of that information into a computer now, the computer will be able to put all of it together and assist scientists in coming up with the best possible treatment. Even with the COVID-19 vaccine, which we're hearing so much about, you know, they had to find out what are the best epitopes that they should put in this vaccine that would make it the most effective vaccine. You want to choose parts of the virus that are not um, prone to mutation. You want to select proteins, protein, what you call it now, monomers of the virus that would not be subject to too many mutations so that your vaccine would remain effective. And so it involves a lot of background work. And here's where your biochemistry and your molecular biology and so forth will come into play. Some persons do a postgraduate diploma in education and they go into the teaching sector and they probably do a master's and a doctorate there. And so there are a wide range of careers that are available. And biochemistry, I think, is a very dynamic area. You can go into the chemistry side of things, you can go into the biological side of things. So it opens up a wider range of topics. For myself, my first degree was in biochemistry and chemistry. And then I did a master's in biotechnology, which was a very big area at the time. And then I did a PhD in analytical chemistry. Um, and here I am teaching at the tertiary level. But I also worked in industry for a couple of years. I worked in marketing and sales for an international company for a number of years. And I also worked in science policy with the Scientific Research Council. So wide range of job prospects. And my first job was actually teaching mathematics at Wolmer's High School and A-level chemistry at Jamaica College. And that I did for about 2 years. So, you know, your start doesn't determine where you're going to finish. So after you graduate, my suggestion is, you know, if you're not planning to go into graduately, just take it and learn from the experience, but don't you don't have to believe that that is the end of your story. That is probably just the beginning. And so you learn whatever strategies, whatever soft skills that you can garner. You gather them and you move forward. So you're constantly moving forward. And you know, there's a whole issue of continuous education now, where you don't stop learning. So you're constantly doing other things. So whether it's going into management, doing an MBA or a diploma in management, a diploma in marketing, something in strategic management, whether it's going on to the medicine, law, dentistry, veterinary science, whether you're starting to work at the graduate level or the undergraduate level, job prospects are usually very good for biochemistry students. And so I want to encourage you to just keep your chin up and, you know, go out there with a positive attitude. And if all of that doesn't work out, you know, you still have that opportunity to start your own business. So some of those research projects that you may be working on here at the university may be a stepping stone later on for you to start some business or the other. All right, so that is it for me. In terms of the other aspect of my talk, which is the final year research. Now, there has been a restructuring of the program. I don't know if it still applies, but we allow students to present their proposal, their literature review, their methods, and the results that they would have got. Because of COVID, we may not have the lab facilities available. And so in your presentation, you're expected to present the results that you would have anticipated in your research, right? And then you discuss them. So that is one of the approaches that we used last year. I'm not sure if that is the approach that will be used this year, but certainly it's something to think about. Now, in coming up with your research project, the best type of projects is usually the cause and effect, where you're looking at the effect of something on something else. Those I find are the best type of projects. It may be the effect of a chemical on a plant, or on bacteria, or on some living system. Those are some of the best studies that I have listened to, because at the end, usually you have some tangible result to present. Um, in coming up with your research project, you can look around you, try and look for problems that surround you, or issues that are around, because if you are able to find answers to some of these issues, this can um, in many ways become an entrepreneurial venture for you later on. And so look around you for all the issues that surround us, some of the problems, some of the things that you hear people say. They may say that this particular tea is good for so and so, and you want to look at the extracts of that tea on maybe the bacteria that cause so and so, right? So these are some of the things you can think about. Um, since we're not really doing a lot of the lab work now, some of you may opt to do lab work. Um, the equipment that is available to you, you have to know what is there. So you want to have an inventory of what type of equipment we have available at NCU. And also, there are organizations out there that you can actually submit samples to for analysis. Places like the Bureau of Standards, places like the Sugar Industry Research Institute, which is right here in Mandeville. You have the Scientific Research Council, and I think those are the main ones that you can submit samples to for maybe GCMS analysis, or analysis for antioxidant levels and so forth. But you have to pay a little money to get those analyses done. So there are facilities available in addition to what is available at NCU, but usually you have to pay some money to have those analyses done. So you'd have to call the institutions to find out what the costs are. And it's always good when you're doing research to have some instrumental analyses in your results, if you can. All right, so basically that's it for me today. If there are any questions, you can go ahead and ask. But that's it, basically it for me. And you all have my email address, especially those who have done the biochemistry course. Feel free to contact me if you have any further questions. All right. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wellington, for this presentation. I know we can all safely say, for those who have been your students, we can safely say you're an excellent lecturer. So this presentation that you would have just shared with us is no different. We really appreciate the sound advice. So thank you very much. All right. So
You're welcome.
you're welcome, sir. So at this time, we're going to be having Raheem Betty doing a performance for us. So let us just experience that right now. So Raheem Betty, we are inviting you to begin.
Greetings, everybody. Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter how you feel, Speak the word and you will be healed. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Oh, sometimes you have to speak the word over yourself. Depression is all around, oh yeah. But God is present help. Well, the enemy created walls, but remember giants, they do fall. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Oh, as I minister to you, oh, I minister to myself. Life can hurt you so till you feel there's nothing left, and no matter how you feel, speak a word over yourself. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Yeah. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. In the Lord. God bless you.
Oh, thank you so much, Betty. Speak over yourself and encourage yourself in the Lord. Don't we all need that timely reminder as students as we are experiencing this semester that can be very challenging for those who have language and content coming up and the natural anxieties kicking in? Just remember to speak over yourself and encourage yourself in the Lord. Put in the work though, and the Lord will do the rest. Thank you, Betty, for that timely reminder and such a very calming performance. All right, so we're going to be transitioning into other presentations, and we're going to be having Miss Desireen Smith, who is a biological science major in the Department of Biochemistry and Environmental Science. So, Miss Smith, we are going to kindly ask you to begin your presentation, and thank you for accepting the call to be a presenter.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so today we will be speaking about biological science careers, and my name is Desiree Smith. So let's get into it. So the objectives for this presentation will we will define biological sciences, finding the career that suits you, steps to achieving your career, and the jobs associated with a biological degree. So, what is biological science? So, biological science is the study of life and is therefore one of the broadest subjects you can study. Biological encompasses everything from the molecular study of life processes right up to the study of animal and plant communities. So, finding a career that suits you. Most times, persons find it challenging to find a career that suits their passion or personality. So, taking a career aptitude test helps in assessing one's character and finding potential careers that could fit your personality. The career aptitude test is normally composed of four brief sections. So you have skills, interests, style, and values. So the skills would assess your personal strength and weaknesses, interests, sort of activities and subjects that you find interesting. Style, well, the type of style of working environment in which you are looking for, and the values that are important to you in your ideal career. So, finding a career that suits you is generally hard. It involves examining one's self and understanding what you want. Sometimes you will end up changing career paths, and while it is important to find a job that you are passionate about, it is also important to find one that fits you and will be available in the future. This means doing a lot of research, and I mean a lot. Background information is key. So according to ladders.com, sorry, my professional advice is to do your best to find a combination of career that taps into your passion as well as that viable to your future. So we will be moving on to steps in achieving your career. So there are many steps in the field of science. Normally, it involves attending grad school or obtaining more than just a bachelor's degree. However, the first step you need is to obtain a bachelor's degree. Next step is determined only by you. But normally it consists of either applying to grad school, gaining work experience, or seeking employment. Most companies prefer accepting persons with master's or a doctor of philosophy degree, along with working experience, which depends on the organization. So, most persons choose to study biological sciences so that they can advance into medical school. So, there are several options available when it comes to medical schools, and the option selected is normally due to preference or opportunity. For example, persons who get scholarships for a particular university where they can complete their studies, and that is an example, yes. So in Jamaica, we have several medical schools. They include the Faculty of Medical Sciences located on the University of the West Indies on a campus, All American Institute of Medical Sciences, and the Caribbean School of Medical Sciences. There are other medical schools available to you in different countries. Some that is some that is cost effective, such as going to attending medical university in China, Italy, Russia, you name it. There is a medical school that you can afford as an international student. So biology is a fundamental subject for careers in science and health sectors, but there are many other routes that you can take with this degree. So careers, careers related to having a bio degree. So you have an academic researcher, a biotechnologist, marine biologist, a microbiologist, a nanotechnologist, nature conservation officer, a pharmacologist, life science researcher, scientific laboratory technician, secondary school teacher, soil scientist, teaching laboratory technician, an, an, sorry, anatomical pathology technologist, an animal physiotherapist. So you also have a dental hygienist, dental technician, dental therapist, dentists, genetic counselor, health improvement practitioner, and medical science liaison, neuroscientist, physician assistant, writer, sustainability consultant, veterinary nursing, zoologist, conservation biologist, ecologist, physician, nurse, genetic engineer, nutritionist, crime scene examiner, food scientist, pharmaceutical sales representative, clinical scientist specializing in the field of cardiac science, physical therapist, and last but not least, you have the forensic scientist, the forensic odontologist, the forensic orthopologist, the occupational health and safety specialist, nurse practitioner, and you wouldn't think that a biology degree would carry you into law, but you can become a patent lawyer, medical malpractice lawyer. So now I'll just move on into explaining some of these careers, not all, but some. So for the academic researcher, there are four types of academic researchers. You have a PhD student or a researcher, which according to the UK Bureau of Labor Statistics, they tend to receive tax-free stipends that values anywhere between 15,000 euro to 20,000 euro. Then you have the postdoctoral research associate or assistant, and their salary ranges anywhere between 27,000 euro to 39,000 euro. Then you have the research associate or the fellow, and then you have higher education lecturers or senior lecturer or professor or a reader, and their salary generally range from anywhere between 43,000 to 58,000 euros. So the next on the list is biotechnologist. So they study the chemical, genetic, and physical attributes of cells, tissues, and organisms in order to develop new technologies, processes, and products that will address some of the biggest problems facing society. So there are four types of biotechnologists. You have medical biotechnologists, agricultural biotechnologists, industrial biotechnologists, and environmental biotechnologists. I didn't go as much into the research for biotechnologists, but I just highlighted some of the types of biotechnology, so you can go ahead and do further research. So the next one on the list is marine biologists. So there are scientists who research life in the oceans and other saltwater environments such as wetlands. They observe and analyze data, conduct experiments, and document the origins, behavior, genetics, and the diseases of marine life. So, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average salary for a marine biologist is $79,728. And this was recently updated in the year 2021 of February. So the next one we have on the list is a microbiologist. So microbiologists plan and conduct complex research projects such as improving sterilization procedures or developing new drugs to combat infectious diseases. They also perform they also perform laboratory experiments that are used in the diagnosis and treatment of illnesses. So, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average salary for a microbiologist is $75,650 per year. So the next one is a pharmacologist. So pharmacologists investigate and analyze drugs, chemicals, and other substances to discover how they affect the biological systems and how to assess how they can be used safely. So the average salary per annum for a pharmacologist is $118,291. And this salary is based on the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. So become a pharmacologist, you need a doctor of pharmacy. So the next one we have is a medical science liaison, also known as MSL. Pharmaceutical, biotechnology, medical device, and related healthcare fields, and they concentrate on specific therapeutic area or disease states such as oncology, cardiology, gastroenterology, rheumatology, and etc. So their purpose is to ensure that products are utilized effectively and serve as scientific peers and resources within the medical community. So according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average salary for an MSL is $169,541 per annum. So the degree required for becoming an MSL is either an MD, PhD, or a Doctor of Pharmacy degree. So we're moving on to the next the next career. So a neuroscientist is a scientist that obtain a medical degree that focuses on the brain and its impact on behavior and cognitive functions. Also focuses on functioning to the nervous system. So the average salary for a neuroscientist, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, it is $64,000 USD per year. Then we have a physician's assistant, and they examine patients, prescribe medicine, and order diagnostic tests. In most cases, they work under the supervision of physicians or surgeons, but they can work more independently in some states, rural areas, and inner city areas, and they consult with physicians only when they need help with cases. So the duration of the study for this career is only 3 years. And the average salary, according to US Bureau, is 112,260 per year. So the next one is orthist, and they design and fabricate medical supportive devices by measuring and fitting patients' body. So they will then be fitted with the brace or the artificial limb, as the picture shows. So the degree type needed for this degree is a master's degree, and according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average salary is $60,000 to $79,999 per year. So the next one is a science writer. Yes, a science writer. So a science writers conduct research, write, and edit articles on scientific topics for many kinds of publications. So the average salary per year in the U.S., according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is $59,969. So the next one is a sustainability consultant, and these consultants are experts in environmental policy and eco-friendly business practices. They advise businesses on ways to decrease their environmental footprint. So the average salary based on US Bureau of Statistics is $61,572. The next one we have is a veterinary nurse, and they're involved in hands-on nursing care of a range of animals. Of a range of animals, providing both emergency and routine health care. They work alongside veterinary surgeons to promote animal health and welfare through responsible ownership and play a key role in the education of pet owners. So, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, their annual salary is $30,165. Is a zoologist, and they are life scientists who study animals, observing them in the laboratory and in their natural habitat. They study the origin and development of species as well as their habits, behaviors, and interactions. So the average salary per year is 74,670, and of course, this is based on US Bureau of Labor Statistics. The degree needed for a zoologist is either a PhD degree or a master's degree. So you have next on the list, you have a forensic scientist. Yes, a forensic scientist. We biologists, we are biological science students can become forensic scientists. So these scientists use analytical and scientific techniques to examine evidence from crimes and prepare legal statements that summarizes the results for court cases. So the average salary per year is 57,506, and yes, this is based on the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. So the next on the list is conservation biologists, and these biologists are scientists concerned with protecting natural resources. Their primary goal is to combine various ways of thinking to devise satisfactory processes by which to sustain and protect air, water, land, and wildlife resources. So their average salary per year is $51,214, and this is based on the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. So the next one is an ecologist, and ecologists are scientists who survey ecosystems and assess the diversity, profusion, and behavior of the different organisms within them. They usually work for government agencies, environmental trusts, charities, and university institutes. So the average salary per year is $50,973. So the next one on the list is the most popular, becoming a physician. So your physicians and surgeons diagnose and treat injuries or illnesses. Physicians examine patients, take medical histories, prescribe medications, and order, perform, and interpret diagnostic tests. They often counsel patients on diet, hygiene, and preventative health care. So the most common types of physicians there are is a pediatrician, a dermatologist, an obstetrician and gynecologist, and a cardiologist. So moving on, the next one is occupational health and safety specialist. So an occupational health and safety specialist helps to maintain a safe work environment for the employees of businesses. So he or she will review, evaluate, and analyze workplaces as well as design programs and procedures to control, eliminate, and prevent disease or injury to employees. So according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average range of salary for OHSS is 60,000 to 79,999 per year. And the next one on the list is a nurse practitioner. So, yes, you can become a nurse practitioner with a biological science degree. So, they are an advanced practice registered nurse that has earned either a master's of science in nursing or a doctor of nursing practice. Nurse practitioners have more authority than registered nurse and have similar responsibilities to that of a doctor. The degrees needed, as mentioned before, is Masters of Science or a PhD. So the according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the projected number of new jobs in the forthcoming future is 50,000, is more than 50,000, and the average salary is $80,000 per annum.
So I am Desiree, and I'm going to ask you the question. You're saying that biological science degree holders can become nurse practitioners. So could you expound a little bit more for the viewers as to the process or the steps that can be taken to get there if somebody is that interested?
Okay, so great. So some steps you could take is, so after you graduate, you could enroll yourself a graduate program where, well, yeah, to become a registered practitioner. But since you are doing a biology degree, some courses that you should consider taking alongside the recommended courses are like human anatomy, human physiology, um, immunology, some, yes, some of those courses, those baseline courses. And then with these courses, then you can easily be transitioned into grad school in a nursing program. And if you're some programs if you are lacking in certain courses, they offer introductory courses to you for that course, and then you continue, right? Continue into the program, and then you can you can finish up your grad degree and become a nurse practitioner. So that's one of the steps. Some universities that offer this is in Canada, um, University of sorry, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Skutzenberg. This offers this this type of degree, and it helps with international students. Want to go into a nurse practitioner sounds like your suit. This could be a this could be a way for you to enter into the practice. It doesn't you don't necessarily need to have a need you don't necessarily need to be a registered nurse before you become a nurse practitioner, because the master's degree will cover that basis of what you were missing out in a registered nurse. So yes, you can use the bio degree to become a nurse practitioner. So moving on. Next one is a medical malpractice lawyer. Yes, you heard right, a lawyer. So they represent clients suing medical practitioners for professional misconduct or malpractice. They perform general civil litigation tasks and work with medical experts, analyze medical records, and conduct medical research. So their average salary per annum is $114,000 according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. Some some ways that you can venture into this career is that, okay, so after you received your undergraduate degree in biology, of course, or biochemistry, or any science related degree, you could do your LSATs and venture into law school, because the requirement for law school does not need you to have a specific bachelor's degree in order to go into, so you can use any degree and go into what you want. But if for persons who want to become a lawyer in the medical field, then this would be a good way for you to transition into. So the next one, okay, so we are at the end of our presentation. These are the references. So thank you for listening, and that's it. Any questions?
Well, Desiree, before everybody asks any question, I can safely say that this presentation was very informative. I think a lot of us can safely say that based on what you would have said, there's a lot of things that we weren't aware or familiar with. So thank you, fellow student and colleague, for such vital information. And guys, if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask Miss Smith before we move on to our second presenter, which is Miss Shanae Giles. So if you have any questions, please quickly ask them.
You're most welcome.
All right, it doesn't seem as if we have any questions. So, okay, we'll be moving on to our next presenter, Miss Shanae Giles, who is also a student in the Department of Biology, Chemistry, and Environmental Science. So, please, Miss Giles, please proceed.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Shanae Giles, and today I'll be presenting on the world of environmental science. All right, so the aim of this, at the end of this presentation, everyone will be able to know the definition of environmental science, the different jobs that are associated with environmental science, finding a career that is suitable for you, and steps in getting a career in environmental science. All right, so what is environmental science, you may ask? Environmental science is a field which incorporates the field of ecology, biology, zoology, oceanography, atmospheric science, soil science, geology, chemistry, and others in an interdisciplinary study of how natural and human-made processes interact and influence Earth's various biomes. All right, so jobs in environmental science. An environmental science degree will prepare you for the variety of jobs in fields like conservation, sustainability, environmental studies, and education. So here are a few jobs in environmental science. So horticulturist is a person who cultivates and propagates plants using scientific knowledge, then uses that knowledge to provide technical information for plant, vegetable, and flowers growers, as well as farmers. So they make about 68,983 US dollars a year. The next one is toxicologist. This person deals with chemicals and other substances to determine whether they're poisonous or harmful to humans, other living organisms, or the environment. A climatologist average salary a year is 70,000 US dollars. Climatologist. This individual studies weather patterns over a period of time. They make about 79,842 US dollars a year. Now to an environmental scientist. They conduct research to find and monitor or remove sources of contaminants or hazards that are harmful to the health of to the environment or public health. An environmental scientist average salary is a year is 71,360 US dollars. Environmental engineer. They devise solutions for wastewater treatment, water and air pollution control, recycling water, waste disposal, and public health method. They access hazardous waste management systems to determine the seriousness of such risks, provide treatment and contaminant recommendation to avoid mishaps. So finding a career which is suitable for you. So here are my 7 points. Create an option. What is it that is of interest to you? What do you like? Make a list. Do not be afraid to change your mind. If you do not have an interest in this career no more, do not waste your time. Explore other avenues. Do a research on your career or interests. Make yourself knowledgeable about this career, what it entails, what is the maximum studying years. Narrow down your list. Many people, after doing their research on different careers they're interested in, they find out that they no longer want to pursue that career. Ask for advice. It is best if you ask for advice from someone who is in that field, because they know what you're going through, because they've been there and they've done that. Create a career action plan. This will mentally prepare you for what's ahead. You know, it's all about the mindset. If you are willing and determined to do the task at hand. All right, now, so we have steps in getting our career in environmental science. So step 1 is for you to get a bachelor degree in environmental science. If you're looking to apply at school that offers environmental science degree, Northern Caribbean University is the best choice. This institution not only gives a degree, but it also helps to build character. You can also apply to the University of West Indies or Howard University. Step 2. This step is all up to you, if you want to get a graduate degree. A graduate degree is essential for advancement in environmental science. Most organizations require applicants to have a doctorate degree or a graduate degree. There's no shortcuts in success. Yes, there might be financial challenges. Yes, school may be stressful at times, but in the end, it will be worth it. Are you willing to take the extra mile? This is the end of my presentation. I hope you have gained an insight on the topic. Thank you for listening and do have a pleasant day.
Not hearing you, Miss Osborne. We're not hearing you. Check your mic.
Okay, so thank you so much, Miss Giles, for such a vibrant and a passionate presentation. We thank you for your insight. So we're going to be transitioning to our med student testimonial. So please stand by for that video.
Hello everyone, I'm Sandra Brown and I am a final year medical student at the All-American Institute of Medical Sciences. I've always wanted to become a doctor and I chose AIMS, so that's All-American Institute of Medical Sciences for short, because of the type of program they have. So within their program, it gives me the opportunity to take the United States medical licensing exams, and I have taken 2 of those exams already. The journey for me began about 7 years ago, and yes, medical school is no longer 7 years, but I did take breaks. So let me just give you a rundown of what the requirements are for the application process. So for the MD program, you would need to have a bachelor's degree, or you can do AIMS pre-medical program, which is a year and 4 months, and then the MD is 4 years. So the fees are in US dollars, and there are 3 semesters for each year, and the fees vary depending on what part of the program you're in. So for the pre-medical fees, it would be about $4,600 per semester. For basic sciences, about $6,100 per semester. And then for the clinical years, which is the last 2 years, it would be about $7,200 per semester. The journey for me has not been an easy one, and just based on the fact that it has taken about 7 years. One, for 2 reasons. One, because with that amount of money and I did not get student loans, I also had to spend time saving money, and also because we do the USMLEs, I also took time off to study as well for those exams. So that's why it has taken a while, but I'm almost there. So the journey for me, even though it's tough, so far right now I have no regrets, and hopefully in the future I can look back and say that it was worth it. But I would encourage anyone, if you want to become a doctor, to just go for it. And I'm glad I went for it, and I am at this point in my life fulfilling my dream. Thank you.
Good day everyone. So my name is Anika Griffiths and I'm currently a 4th year medical student studying in Guyana. So medicine has always been a childhood dream for me. I've always wanted to become a doctor. Fast forward to around my 2nd year in medical school, I started to realize that I was swiftly losing interest, and I remember saying to my best friend that I realized that I'm no longer interested in medicine, like it's not my passion, it doesn't fuel me. And she's like, no, not you do so well at it. she's like, give it some time. Let's see if when you start the hospital that you like it more. And it's now been over a year since I've been in the hospital, and honestly, things haven't changed. I still don't enjoy it. It's still not my passion. But what's the point I am making? When I think back to high school or childhood, those years when I was convinced I wanted to become a doctor, I realized that there was no true passion behind it. It was just like, what are the careers that are available, or the careers that are often talked about: doctor, lawyer, teacher, nurse, engineering. And I chose one. There was no true passion behind it. And since being in medicine and struggling with the loss of passion, I've actually found things that I'm really passionate about. I realized that I'm passionate about getting to the root cause of mental illnesses, talking to people about their anxieties, their depressions, their fears, why they don't take leaves. And it's because I had to deal with those things, some of those things in myself. So my simple career advice would be, if you have the opportunity to really experience the career ideas that you have, because when you think about it, it's just an idea. You don't really know what it feels like to actually spend a day in those careers. Take that opportunity. Take some time to learn about yourself and to do things that you're truly passionate about. And if you're honest, you just don't know yourself, that's where you explore. And if you don't have that opportunity, you already chose a career, you're already in it, learn from it. It's okay to change careers after. It's okay to learn about yourself, because after all these years in school, they're supposed to bring out the best in you, or even the worst, so you can learn about yourself. So take time to learn about yourself. Don't just choose a career because everybody else is doing it, or it's the thing that is in. Choose something you're passionate about, and if you don't know what you're passionate about, take time to explore. And if you're already in a career and you realize that you're not passionate about it, it's okay. Learn about yourself, learn what fuels you, and go in that direction. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. Explore, learn about yourself, and choose something you see yourself doing for the long run. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a case where if you're not hearing these videos clearly, I'm going to encourage you to go on YouTube to view the live presentation. But at this time, we'll be having our next presenter. And our next presenter is Dr. T. Daniels. And we do hope, like just how the other presentations were effective, this too will be an excellent one. So let us tune our ears to entertain and digest all that Dr. Dawes has to say.
Good day, everyone. All protocols observed. Well, Dr. Tracy Dawes Daniels is an alumna of Northern Caribbean University. Well, she's an overall product of good Christian education from Northern Caribbean University to La Sierra to Loma Linda, where during her studies, every step of the study, she would write letters to the young people in her community as well as in her church, speaking about her experience and also mentorship. I am one such person who received those letters, who she has encouraged and on a personal level. Subsequently, Dr. Dawes has moved on to attain her degree, to attain multiple degrees, specifically from Loma Linda University, where she gained her doctorate. She's also a nurse practitioner, a clinical associate professor for community health nursing at National University in San Diego, California. Dr. Dawes' passion for community health and serving disenfranchised communities led her to found the Well One Health Inc., a non-profit organization that operates as a free clinic in the city of Paris to serve the uninsured and underinsured and to provide a pipeline for minority students who are interested in health sciences. She is also the founder of a new corporation, Ubuntu Health Advocate, funded to provide accessible mental health and advocacy services. She believes healthcare is a human right, and she's committed to finding creative strategies to decrease health disparities and to make healthcare accessible to all individuals. Dr. Dawes enjoys mentoring public health and nursing students who are interested in community work. She also assists various organizations and desires to create free clinics and help organizations that desires to set up free clinics. In her spare time, Dr. Dawes enjoys reading and spending time with her 7-year-old son Asher and her husband Julius, who will graduate medical school in 2020 this year. Thank you.
Where will you be in 10 years? Do you have a clue? Do you have a life plan? Do you know with absolute certainty that the degree that you are now pursuing will take you to the place that you ought to be in 10 years? Hi, my name is Dr. Tracy Dawes, and I first want to thank you for inviting me to be your speaker for your symposium. I just want to take a few minutes to share some thoughts with you about my journey to where I am today, and also to encourage you on your journey. So, let me start by telling you about where I am today. I have a doctorate in public health. My doctorate focuses on preventive care, which means I teach people how to live using lifestyle medicine principles. That means we consider medicine as we understand it to be the science of medicine plus the science and the art of taking care of someone using principles of wellness. That's what my doctorate is in. But before I got there, I acquired a number of master's degrees and specialist degrees, and those are in various fields, including education, psychology, counseling, and English, and of course nursing. So what is it exactly that I do now? And did these degrees prepare me to get there? Well, long before all of that, I attended NCU. I don't even remember when I graduated. I believe it was 1998. Back then we still called it West Indies College, so it's been a while. But then I graduated with a bachelor's in English because I was so sure I was going to be a writer. Do I write today? Not in the way I thought I would have. Was that the degree I wanted when I showed up? Absolutely not. I wasn't even sure what I wanted. My CXC results dictated that it had to be business, and that's what I studied for a year before I switched to English because I did not enjoy business at all. So it was going there for business at NCU, but leaving with a degree in English, going to La Sierra University for a master's in English, but because of immigration and 9/11 and all that trauma and drama, leaving there 5 years later with additional psychology and counseling degrees, going on to a doctorate in public health, leaving there with not only a doctorate, but a master's in nursing. Where I am today has been a very torturous path, and it was not the straight path I anticipated when I was that 15-year-old who showed up at NCU. So let's talk a little bit about what it takes to get to where you want to be. When I started, I had great dreams of being a writer. I loved English, I loved Spanish, I loved the arts. I had no interest in business nor in the sciences. And I didn't have anyone in my family to help propel me along a certain path. I was the first in my family to go to college, the first to go to high school even. So I didn't have people to explain to me what to do and how to do it. And it wasn't until I got to my master's in California that I started thinking, do I have a say, and is it possible to pursue something I liked? But I didn't even know what I liked. So I took some time to figure that out by doing all those career tests. And they all said that I needed to be a pastor, a chaplain, a counselor, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist. That's basically everything was in the field, the helping professions, basically. And I said, nah, that's not for me. But I'm pretty much there because today, these are the various roles that I have. I am first and foremost a nursing professor. I teach community health, which is what we call public health nursing. And so that is where I use my doctorate in public health and also my master's in nursing. I'm a nurse practitioner. I see patients at the clinic that I run. So I use those 2 degrees again. And remember, I said my doctorate was a lot of lifestyle medicine. So I teach principles of both healthcare in as the science part of it, but also teaching about how to use natural remedies, your food, exercise, and a good mental health to put you on the right track for healthcare. That's what I do there. But I run a nonprofit. I've never gone to school to get a degree in nonprofit management. That's something I learned on the way. Do I use my degree in English? Yes, actually I do. I do write quite a bit. I write grants to support the nonprofit. Write for publication, although very little. Write for publication, although very little at this point. I also write articles whenever necessary. And writing has helped me to be a better speaker. And so I do use those skills. But what about the counseling and psychology? Do I use those? Yes, I do. Although that was not the path I'd intended, it's the path somehow I ended up on due to circumstances, most of that immigration related and completely out of my control. And today I also run a business, a for-profit business, in addition to the nonprofit, that is a mental health agency. It's pretty new. It's called Ubuntu Health Advocates, and we are just now getting it off the ground. So all the degrees that I have attained, I somehow have used. Did I go in search of all of these? No, these were circumstantial and in some cases costly, but I have found a way to use all of them to my benefit and to the benefit of humanity. What degree are you pursuing at NCU? Do you know where that you want that to take you to? Do you have a clear plan in mind? Or are you pretty much saying, I will just see where it takes me? I will not tell you that there is something wrong about taking some time to figure out what you need to do. I will say it helps to get exposure to different areas. I will say it helps to know what are the opportunities that are available to you. But I will also say we have to be realistic about where the funding is coming from and how much time we have, because at the end of the day, we were placed here for a purpose, and that purpose is to take care of our family and friends, yes, but also to serve the greater good of mankind. So when we go to school, we're not only going for ourselves, we're going so that in the end, we can be used by God to teach people about God. When you think of your life that way, you realize then that you can't be like everyone else who says, I'm just here to get the money, I'm gonna get the bag and that's it, I don't care about anything else. You realize there's a greater purpose, but do you know what that purpose is? The Japanese have a word for it. They call it ikigai, meaning I am content because I've realized that where the world's great need is, that is where my purpose lies. And where they intersect, that is where I found my true purpose and my happiness. It requires then for you to think, what is it that you enjoy doing? What is it that you can talk for hours about or read a lot about or go on social media and look up or research in some other way? Those are the things you love. Then you ask yourself, what are the needs of humanity? You look around you. What are people struggling with the most, and how can I be of benefit to them? So you're looking for a purpose. So you look for what you like, you look for your purpose, but then you're also looking where those intersect. That's where your interest meets humanity's greatest need. Right in that sweet spot is a place where you can find a profession and a vocation. In Jamaica, it's very different. I have found that as a young person, most Jamaicans cannot say, I have a passion for this and this is what I'm going to pursue. Passion is for people usually in first world countries who have time and money to spare and who can follow a certain interest and have hobbies. Most of the people in Jamaica I grew up around, and I'm sure it's still the same, you can't say, oh, that's not my passion, I can't do it. No, you look for a job that will pay your bills. Most people I knew growing up never had health insurance. They had never taken a vacation in their lives. I never knew what that was until I got to America over 20 years ago. Because the people around me were farmers, they never took time off because you can't take time off from farming. They never said, oh, I don't do this because it's not my passion, or I'm doing this thing because I love it. They did what they needed to do to feed their families. So the question then becomes, is it okay to go after a passion? My answer to that is yes. I believe that in all of us, God has placed that little seed, something that keeps drawing us. So we may have certain interests and it may vary from other people's because that's okay. We need different people who like different things. So you will find that, hey, I really love the sciences and this is what I want to go after. And another person will say, that's not my cup of tea. I really love the arts. And another person will say, I love them both, and will find a way to work with them both. While we talk about passion, we have to be realistic, however. Can this passion be used in a way to pay your bills? Can this passion take care of your family? Can this passion help solve the world's problems? Sometimes it requires us to be creative, and that is fine. For example, I wanted to study English because in my 15-year-old mind, I was going to be a writer. I was going to write the great journal. I am going to write great articles. I am going to write a great novel. And I did a master's in English. And at that point in America, I realized 9/11 has happened. No one is hiring immigrants. Nobody likes us very much at this point. We will not be able to get jobs and we're being asked to leave this country. This degree in English helped me to take care of my needs and my family's needs. How will it be useful for humanity? Can it be used? Of course. But I chose to go into a different direction because at that point it became difficult during that period of time to pull it off. Now, if I were a citizen or a resident, it would have been easier for me to spin it into something that would work. But when you are an international student, that is much more difficult. Not impossible, but much more difficult. And I made the choice to lay that dream to rest and to pursue something that would ensure that I could eat and I could pay my bills. So one does not necessarily have to give up a passion, though. You can channel it into a hobby. You can find other ways of using the thing you like. For example, for me, I can use it to write an article for a newspaper. I can use it to be convincing in letters in advocacy, to work on behalf of humanity, but just in a different way. So have I written the great Jamaican or the great American novel? No, I have not. And it is highly unlikely that that will happen. Because that 15-year-old girl is now a grown woman with a family who realizes that very few people set out to write a novel actually create one. But is that the reason I chose not to go down that road? Absolutely not. I chose not to go because I found something that I was even more passionate about that brought me to that state of ikigai, the place where the world's greatest need meets my passions. Along the way, I discovered public health. Never heard of it in Jamaica. For most of my time in the US, I never knew what that was. But then I discovered that there is a way that I can focus my attention on the population as a whole. And I want to tell you how I got here. Many years ago, I picked up a book. It was such a simple book, and it was about Muhammad Yunus. It was his biography, the man who founded the Grameen Bank. And if you have a moment, please look him up, because we discovered that if you give small loans to very poor women in underserved countries, that they can take that money, small as it may be, and turn a profit and create a business that can take care of their families, send their girls to school, which is something that he was very passionate about, and also empower these women. I fell in love with the story, and then I started looking at how does one get into this field? How does one do that? How does one get a career taking care of others? And that's your job. Now, remember I said that I went to NCU to study business. The first class that I did very poorly in was economics. And that was not my area at all. But that's what Muhammad Yunus majored in. I believe he attended Harvard. That's what he did. He went back to his home country of Pakistan and decided, I want to build a bank where all I do is make small loans to poor women to pull them out of poverty. That book made me a public health convert. Public health simply means we're looking for the greater good of the population. It doesn't mean that you can't make money for yourself. It doesn't mean that you're a martyr. In fact, I believe the opposite, that when God gives you certain gifts, that you can use them for yourself to bless your family, but you can also use them in service to mankind. And that's exactly what he did. He built a bank, a very successful bank, a banker for the poor. The book is, I believe, is called A Banker to the Poor. So I would recommend that book to anyone. But I'll also recommend for you to take a good look at where you are and where you'd like to be. Do not leave it up to chance as to where you're going to end up. You have to think about it and you have to plan. Does it mean that you're going to get there exactly using the route that you've planned out? No. Does it mean you'll get there at all? No. But along the way, you will learn great things about yourself, what your true interests are, and how you can best serve mankind. Now, notice that theme of mine, how you serve mankind, because I really do truly believe the only way to happiness is by serving others. I feel the most happy when I show up to my free clinic every Friday morning. I help people. I help people feel better. I give people with no means of health care a chance for health care that they don't have to pay for, and the service that is superior to services provided in most doctors' offices. The fact that I provide that health care at no cost to them brings me great joy. I have worked hard to do many things that I was never exposed to in school. So now you can see the irony of it all. I am running two businesses. One, in mental health, which I said I didn't want to do, and another in nonprofit management, an area that I've never been trained in. And the girl who didn't want to go to sciences because she didn't want to do any sciences at CXC, who did business instead but didn't like business and really just wanted to be a writer, ended up being in the field of science, in the field of business, in the field of mental health, and doing very little writing across the board. Am I happy with the outcomes? Yes. I'm actually blissfully happy about where my life is right now, where it's going. But if you ask me that question along the way, my answer probably would be very difficult and very different now. Because while there are many aspects of my life I've espoused, I've enjoyed, always in the back of my mind, I always felt that there was something unfulfilled. There was a piece that I wasn't getting at. And that part is I wanted to be in the position of being a stronger healthcare provider. I wanted to be in an area where I can pick up at any point, go anywhere in the world to give the help that is necessary. So, what then are my interests and my passions? My passion is to serve the world's greatest needs in healthcare, in bringing healthcare to poor communities. It is my wish to return to Jamaica to do the same. And as long as God gives me breath and the means to do so, I believe that that will occur. That is a stronger passion that has superseded my need to write a great novel or to write journals and great articles. I have found my ikigai. I have found where my passions meet the world's greatest needs. And in that sweet spot, that is where I choose to be every day. I want you to think about what your ikigai is. What is it that you want to spend the rest of your life doing? What is it, and how can you bring your full self to this world to offer yourself as a living sacrifice to God in the service of mankind? I hope to meet you along the journey as you go. And maybe your story, maybe the degree that you're pursuing, may not get you directly to where you think you're supposed to be, but I'm sure the adventure will be well worth it. I hope you find your passions. I hope you find your ikigai.
Such a very powerful presentation, very top tier, very creme de la creme type of information and charge. It was really fulfilling listening to that just now. So thank you ever so much, Dr. Dawes. It's really profound. Thank you. And with that being such a very powerful presentation, very top tier, very creme de la creme type of. With that being said, we will move into our vote of thanks, which will be done by biochemistry major Rommel Eubanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, Northern Caribbean University Science Students Association, NCUSSA, Career and Advisement Seminar with the title Paving the Road for Success was indeed a success. And so we would like to thank our host, Jacery Osborne, for taking the time out of her busy academic schedule to ensure the smooth running of today's program. Our first presenter, Dr. Nicole White, our BCS Department Chair. Our second presenter, Dr. Max Wellington. And in CUSA execs, Desiree Smith and Sinead Giles, who gave some very informative presentation. We thank guest performer Raheem Betty for such wonderful musical presentation. Encourage yourself, speak over yourself. We thank med students for sending some wonderful video presentations, and to our guest speaker for a very informative presentation. A big thank you to those behind the scenes. Desireen, our NCUSSA VP of Academics with the planning and organization of the program. Ashley Youth, the Executive Secretary for NCUSSA, who created and sent out invitations and maintained the contact with our presenters and guest speaker. Sanjay Reed, who is the Director of Projects and Special Initiatives, who designed our posters and helped with the graphics and also with the planning. Everton Gregg, NCUSA President, who helped with the planning and the live streaming. Shadika Roberts and Janelle Phillips for helping with the planning and participating in today's program. To the viewers and the rest of executive members, all the students from the BCS department, a big thank you. Hope you enjoy your day. Thank you all.
And thank you so much, Mr. Eubanks, for your closing remarks. And thank you all for tuning in. As the theme was paving the way or the road for success, let us all continue walking that road of success. Thank you all for tuning in. And I was your host, Jayshree Osborne. And do have a great rest of day.
Why are men great till they gotta be great? Woo. I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems, that's the human in me. Bling bling, then I solve them, that's the goddess in me. You could've had a bad bitch, not committal. Help you with your career, just a little. You supposed to hold me down, but you holding me back, and that's the sound of me not calling you back. Why are men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Who you a little bit?
Oh Lord, Jesse made another one.
Huh? Packing the mail, it's gone. Shit like I smell cologne. Yeah. I just signed a deal, I'm on. Yeah, yeah. I go where I want, I'm good, good. Play if you want, let's do it. I'm a young CEO, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The first play on my body in them. I just check my balance, I probably pull up to your hood and come buy me a new. No cap. You know that your told you that crazy. Don't think that she lied to you, new. Get caught with you when I'm popping them both. Now they hot just like Bobby and Whitney. Stay